Good evening or good afternoon. We're getting evening here in Toronto, Canada. It's almost 7 in the evening where we are, but it could be morning or afternoon wherever you are, where some of you are. We're glad that you have chosen to join us in our health presentation this evening. Welcome to our health presentation, and thank you for joining us again through Facebook Live and YouTube channel. We hope that you all have a great week. May you be blessed with our program this evening, and may God continue to bless you all. Before we hear from Dr. Frias, let's sing our opening song.
Quick Check showed me the best Capital One card I could get approved for with 100% certainty, and it didn't impact my credit score.
I wish I could be that certain about everything, like whether my kid's gonna be famous.
I will repeat it. Thank you so much for
It's
that.
indestructible.
Thank you so much for that beautiful song again by our wonderful singers. We're so happy that we can be with you again this beautiful Sabbath afternoon. I hope you all had a good Sabbath afternoon. Uh, we spent the day contemplating and thinking about the beauty of being alive, the appreciating this liberty that we are, the freedom that we still enjoy, but also we're concerned about these different sickness and diseases that continue to linger around, especially with this COVID-19 is still around. But there seems to be some hope because a lot of places now are easing out on their lockdown. And here in Toronto, they said that by June 14, we could start gathering again and small groups. And as they look at the data of the improvement of the situation, the group will get bigger and bigger. So I hope that we can go back to our normal activities of life so we can enjoy life better and we can also gather together to worship the Lord in the beauty of His holiness. I thank you again for being with us this afternoon, and I hope that we'll benefit from the information that we're going to share regarding regarding our health, dealing with our health. But before we start, may I invite you to seek God in a word of prayer. Dear God, our Father in heaven, thank you so much again for this beautiful Sabbath day. Thank you for your love. Thank you that we can rest in your care and in your based on your teachings that you have given us one day a week to be rested from all our week's labor. The Father, I pray that you will bless us as we share information regarding our health this evening. I pray that you will help us learn something from it and as much as possible learn how to prevent, how to take good care of our body and prevent such sicknesses. And knowing about the such diseases will help us be able to manage them if ever we are affected by it. We pray that you will forgive us from where we have fallen short of our glory, and please help us, bless us as we listen to this health presentation this evening. This I ask in Jesus' holy name I pray. Amen. Now we're going to our health presentation. Let me prepare the topic of our study. Okay. Our study this evening will deal with, will be about a very, it's not very, actually very common, but it's quite common. It's quite known, a well-known disease, and it deals with cancer, particularly breast cancer. Breast cancer is what we're going to study today. You know, when people are diagnosed to be having cancer, they think now of an expiration of their lives. They are usually, there's no definite effective cure for cancer. And usually a lot of people who are affected with cancer, they end up dying. So when somebody is told that he has cancer, sometimes that worry, that anxiety that they experience, they start to experience anxiety, loneliness, and fear that they could end their lives. And that probably adds to the seriousness of the disease, because when you worry, it even like a lot of cancer is caused by worrying also, stress and so on. And by worrying, it could add to the seriousness of the disease. But by knowing about this disease, it will help us sort of manage and control it, or it will help us be able to live with it. And with the positive thinking, maybe we will be able to survive it. So let's study about cancer. Overview of cancer. Breast cancer, it usually affects these three parts of the breast, which is the lubule, stroma, and the duct. Uh, so we're going to talk about breast cancer and you. Epidemiology. Globally, most common malignancy diagnosed in women and leading cause of cancer death. See, a lot of people who have cancer, they usually end up dying. It accounts for 23% of all cancer cases and 14% of cancer deaths in women. Breast cancer usually compromises lives of women. Majority of breast cancers in the U.S. are diagnosed because of an abnormal screening mammogram. Sometimes because of the screening of the mammogram, and sometimes something goes wrong with the screening, with with the equipments, and they are diagnosed to have cancer. And there are times that they do not really have cancer. So we really need to be careful. If you are diagnosed with cancer, it's good to get another what you call the test from another place, maybe a different doctor, different hospital, and so on. Pre-invasive breast cancer accounts for 23 to 30% of new diagnoses. So you have to get, if you get diagnosed with cancer, you have got to get another opinion, get yourself checked again in another place and get a different diagnosis. And if it is consistent, maybe for 2 or 3 times, maybe then you can believe that you probably have one. Now, new cases, deaths, and 5-year relative survival. Here are some reports of survival of cancer. It's not very clear here, but in 1975, there are new cases. The cases was about this much, let's say 100, and this chart here, and the death was sort of leveling off. The number of people diagnosed of cancer seems to be going up in 1975, 1980, 1980, 1984, 83. So the trend of women being diagnosed with breast cancer seems to be going up here. Yeah, but not so much up. But the number of deaths are also leveling off here. It's going down a little bit. And this finding is until 2007. And estimated cases, these are the chart, 9.1%. It goes up to, it went up to 21.8%, 25%. And the cases now seem to be going down. Depends on the ages also of the people. 75, it's going down on people who are 75 to 84 years old, and 84 years, it's about 5.7%. Now, here are the non-modified risk factors. Depends on the age, the gender, all women are at risk. The breast cancer, all women are candidates for it, are at risk. And it usually depends on some factors that are to be considered are age, family personal history, reproductive history, radiation, genetic factors, menstrual history, and race. So these are the factors that usually affects women's risk to having breast cancer. So let's study some more. And modified risk factors also are depends on obesity. That's why if you want to have good health, it is always advised that try to avoid being obese or not having children. Not having children are women who never had children are more at risk than those who had children. And also breastfeeding could be a factor also. And alcohol, that's why alcohol is always being prohibited to be taken if you would like to achieve good health. Hormone replacement therapy, birth control pills, if possible, try not to take birth controls, but a lot of women cannot um control themselves from taking those birth control, especially if they have aggressive husbands. And also exercise is very important. And hereditary breast cancer also are factors. For example, here, moderate penetrance, 4%, other high penetrance. Uh, Unknown as 50%. The causes are unknown, predicted based on heredity and so on, 14%. Known reasons are 14%, and there's one 15% also of BRCA. I don't know what that means. Hereditary breast cancer. 8 to 10% of all women with breast cancer have a hereditary form of breast cancer. Usually, it comes from it also comes from your genes. You might have somebody who had cancer in your family line ahead of you. And also the gene mutation, germline mutation, and germline mutation. There's also an increased risk of male breast cancer and prostate cancer in BRCA2. Other causes are pancreatic cancer, fallopian tube, carcinoma, uh, carcinoma, and primary peritoneal carcinoma. Who should be tested? Here are the women who should be tested with breast cancer. Women with 2 first-degree relatives with breast cancer, 1 at age 50 or younger. So if you are a woman who has a first-degree relative who had breast cancer, 1 at the age of 50 or younger. If you had a relative who had breast cancer, 50 years old or younger, you should be checked for breast cancer. And 3 or more first or second degree relatives with breast cancer. If you have 3 or more relatives who had breast cancer, doesn't matter what age, you should get a checkup also. And a combination of breast and ovarian cancer among first and second degree relatives. If you have relatives like that, who have a combination of breast and ovarian cancer among first and second degree relatives, you have to be checked yourself. And then if you have a first degree relative with bilateral breast cancer, you should have yourself checked. 2 or more first and second or second degree relatives with ovarian cancer. And then if you have male relatives with breast cancer, you should also have yourself checked. And then Ashkenazi, Jewish descent with any first degree relative or 2 second degree relatives on the same side of the family. So if you know, if you're a Jewish person and you have an Ashkenazi is a type of, is a group of Jewish sect or tribe. If you have a relative of that Ashkenazi Jewish descent with first degree relative or 2 degrees relatives on the same side of the family, you should get yourself checked because you could also be a candidate for breast cancer. Patients with personal history of breast cancer and diagnosed at the age of 45 or less, two or more primaries, the first at the age of 50 or younger, age 50 or younger with one or more relatives with breast, pancreatic, prostate cancer, triple negative breast cancer at the age of 60, and one or more close relative with breast cancer at the age 50 or below, two or more close relatives with breast cancer, one or more relatives with ovarian cancer, two or more relatives with pancreatic or prostate cancer. That's why if you are checked for cancer, if you go for a doctor for checkup, they usually ask you a question: Do you have any relative in your family line uh, ahead of you who had breast cancer? That also goes with people who have. That's also asked with people who have who are who could be candidates of heart disease. The same thing. Prophylactic bilateral mastectomy decreases risk by greater than 90%. So prophylactic bilateral mastectomy, it decreases the risk by greater than 90%. Prophylactic salpingo or perectomy by the age 25 to 35 to 40 decreases risk of ovarian cancer by greater than 9.95%. And in pre-menopausal women, decreases the risk of breast cancer by 50. So limited data on chemo prevention. Benign breast lesion. Um, Benign, if you have a benign breast lesion, you have no risk, cyst, duct, ectasia, adenoma, mastitis, fibrosis, and papilloma, sclerosing adenosis, radial scar, and atypical ductal hyperplasia, atypical lobular hyperplasia. Chemo prevention. Who needs prevention? People who need prevention with breast cancer are uh, those who have high-risk breast lesions. Gale, 5-year risk, 1.66, and life expectancy, if you are one of these, is about 10 years. Agents used: tamoxifen, uh, ralixoxifin, and exemestate, and anastrozole. Anastrozole, but it's not FDA approved. And the screening recommendations: biennial screening mammography for women aged 50 to 74 years, be recommendation. And decision to start screening at 40 should be an individual one. See recommendation. At the age of 40, you should start yourself, if you never had one, but you should start yourself to undergo screening. Insufficient evidence to assess balance of benefits and harms of screening in women age 75 years and older. So, screening. Women aged 40 to 44 years should have the choice to start annual screening like of mammograms. 45 to 54 years, annual mammograms. 55 or older should switch to mammograms every 2 years or have the choice of continuing annual screening. So when you are 55 and over, you should make sure that you get your screening every 2 years, or you can even request for annual screening if you like. And then Clinical breast exam. ACS recommend not performing a clinical breast exam. Insufficient evidence for added benefit. Clinical exam 1 to 3 years. Breast MRI. ACS recommends annual MRI in addition to mammography in BRCA mutation carriers. Lifetime risk of breast cancer to 20. 20 and then radiation to chest wall between 10 to 30 years and Lee Fromini and Codin. The diagnostic mammogram, this is how it looks like when you are diagnosed for uh, breast cancer. Ultrasound and MRI, palpable masses with negative mammogram, women aged 30 or below, biopsy of suspicious lesion, and evaluation of axilla. More sensitive but less specific to assess the extent of disease, such as posterior extent and chest wall invasion, tumor larger on exam than on mammogram. Axillary nodal metastasis, with occult primary, dense branch women at high risk for contralateral disease. Biopsy and pathology, image-guided core needle biopsy. Wire localization of clip replacement is performed at the time of biopsy if the lesion is small. Pathologic assessment of malignant lesion includes type, grade K767 receptor status. And prognosis factors are the stage, tumor morphology, histologic grade, lymphovascular invasion, hormone receptor status, and HER2 overexpression. Treatment, local therapy, lumpectomy, mastectomy. 2 millimeters or greater accepted as negative margins, adjuvant, and a lot of these things are high medical terms, so it's so we just try to skip them because you won't understand them anyway. And the regional treatment also are here, systematic treatment, and so on. Now here are some images of what happened if you have some tumors around your breast. You can see that you see some spots growing or some sort of like reddish kinds of spots. A radioactive substance or dye should be used to check them. Also, here we have the sentinel modes and tumor and sentinel nodes removed. If you have some tumors, they have to be removed. Sentinel lymph node biopsy of the breast. A radioactive substance and or blue dye is injected near the tumor. The injected material is located visually and or with a device that detects radioactive middle panel. The sentinel node, the first lymph node to take up the material, is removed and checked for cancer cells. That's why they have to be removed. It includes adjuvant endocrine therapy and adjuvant neoadjuvant chemotherapy. The need for systematic therapy determined by the risk of recurrence, which in turn depends on the tumor size, the lymph node status, grade, receptor status, and the neoreceptor status. So these are the different tests that are being performed to see, to check if you have breast cancer. Now, there's the endocrine therapy indicated in all human hormone receptor positive tumors, decreases breast cancer recurrence and mortality. Agents used tamoxifen, that is pre-menopausal and post-menopausal for women, and also aromatase inhibitors, that is for pre-menopausal women. The duration of treatment is 5 years. Menopausal status and adverse effect profile guide treatment selection. Now, so much of those technical parts of regarding breast cancer, but I would like to share with you some ways on how to prevent cancer, ways on how to prevent different kinds of cancer actually in general. Now, breast cancer is included here, of course. Now, let's talk a little bit about prevention of cancer. There's a link between lifestyle factors and many cancers. For example, smoking. If you are a smoker, you are more at risk to developing cancer. If you are obese, that's why you have to watch your weight all the time. There's a saying that your what you call that, your stomach line, your waistline is your lifeline. And also smoking, obesity, consumption of alcohol. So smoking and alcohol, they usually go together. So try not to develop that kind of habit if you do not have it. And if you already have those habits, you should try to quit or get away from them, because it could also shorten your lives. And a diet that is high in animal products. Diet high in animal products. If you are a fan of eating meat or having meat all the time, these things, smoking, alcohol, obesity, and diet that is high in animals and fat, they account to 70 to 80% of all cancers. See that? Just if you like to lengthen your life, at least get rid of these 4 things. Cigarettes, try not to be obese, do not consume alcohol, and you have to have a diet that is that has a little animal fat or little animal meat, less fat or less animal meat, because they contribute to 70 to 80% of causes of reasons why you become at risk for cancer. The good news is that we can fight back. If you adopt a healthy lifestyle, it dramatically lowers your risk. So there are 4 things that I would like to share with you, taken together, that can prevent majority of adult cancers. I already shared with you 4 things anyway. Get rid of cigarettes, do not smoke, do not drink, do not be obese, and eat as less as possible of these animal products, especially fat. So the 4 things taken together can also prevent it. 1, eat a very low fat, low cholesterol diet. Such diet can reduce the risk of heart disease. It can reduce the risk of diabetes. It can reduce the risk of stroke and many types of cancer. So eat a very low fat, low cholesterol diet. So you have to search for that, or you can even go to the internet if you like to find out what are the food that are very low in fat, very low in cholesterol. And those are the diet that you should try to eat. Maybe They might not be as tasty as the one that you used to eat with a lot of fat and so on, but it will also lengthen your life and make you more healthy. And that could prevent not only cancer, it can prevent also diabetes, which is another bad disease to have. Having to, if it becomes serious, you have to inject yourself, poke yourself with needle every day. I know that. I've seen people who have that, and even my father. I feel sorry when he has to look for a place to poke himself with needle, sometimes in the stomach or in the leg somewhere. I mean, it's a terrible. Even if you are not the one doing it, it's painful to see those people doing that. So that's one. So it can prevent. If you do these things, you can prevent diabetes, stroke, and many types of cancer. Because there's not only one type of cancer; there are many types. However, making lifestyle changes is not as simple as swallowing a pill. Some people just prefer to swallow a pill instead of changing their lifestyle because they like the food that they eat, which might not be good for them, and so on. And this involves learning new habits and skills. For example, cutting fat and cholesterol in our diet means preparing more meatless dishes. Prepare more meatless dishes. Maybe you should try to be a vegetarian because many people turn to be vegetarians because they would like to get rid of fat and in their fat and cholesterol in their diets. Let me relax a little bit here. Anyway, what else do we have here? Use whole grain breads and cereals. That is another what you call that? Another hint that I would like to give you. Use whole grain breads and cereals. They have vitamins, minerals, and fiber products made from refined flour lac. So if you like bread, you should get bread that are made of whole grain breads and cereals. They have vitamins, minerals, and fiber products made from refined flour lac. Those are good also for you. And another one, enjoy fresh fruits each day. Better to make fruits the first food that you eat in the morning. So that the very rich fruit nutrients will be the first substances that will be absorbed by your cells. Different kinds, you should eat at least 3 to 5 different kinds of fruits every day, recommended. Now, I know this a woman who was told that she should eat at least 3 different kinds of, or 5 different kinds of fruits every day. And you know what she did? She ate 5 bananas every day, 5 fruits. And she became sick. She became diabetic because, it's not one kind of fruit only, 5 different kinds of fruits every day, 3 to 5. But if you have diabetes already, you should limit it to 2 to 3 kinds of fruits already, not 5 anymore. That is if you do not have diabetes yet. Eat whole variety of vegetables. The darker the green vegetable that you eat, the better for you. Dark green leafy vegetables are very essential. 1 cup of greens contain more calcium than milk. Yellow vegetables are high in vitamin A. Eat them raw if possible or just steam them. So you hear that? Eat a lot of vegetables. What you do is the greener the vegetable is, the better it is for you. And yellow vegetables, you get a lot of vitamin A on it. And do not cook as much possible, eat them raw. Or if you cook them slightly, just steam them so that you get all the good nutrients from them. That is also one way of preventing cancer. Use nuts sparingly. Nuts are high in minerals and vitamins, but also they contain lots of fat that are polysaturated fat, unlike animal fat, which are saturated. So eat nuts. Walnut is good to eat, and eat them sparingly because although they are high in fat, but their fat are uh, fully unsaturated fat, not like fat that are in meat, which are saturated fats. And then use a variety of beans and peas. They provide protein and fiber and are low in fat. Use variety of beans and peas. They provide protein for you and fiber also, and they are low in fat. Remember that? And also, good eating begins with good recipes. Invest in a good cookbook. It will repay you many times over. There is no better tool to fight cancer than changing your eating habits. Most of the sickness and diseases that we can have are caused by the food that we eat. So uh, you should eat these kinds of food that are recommended. A lot of vegetables and so on. Here's another guide for you. Do not eat food that feeds cancer cells. Okay? What are the food that feeds cancer cells? Usually all the white foods. Get rid of white foods. For example, milk. Some people made study and said that adults, why do we have to drink milk? If you look at the animals, uh, the mothers feed the babies with milk when they are young. But when they grow old, when they do not need to take the mother's milk anymore, they do not drink milk anymore. They just eat vegetables or they just eat other food, not milk, because milk is also a cancer feeder. You do not need milk. You can get more calcium. People say that you get calcium from milk, but you can get more calcium from green leafy vegetables. And then throw your sugar container at home and do not buy sugar anymore. You don't need sugar. Sugar is also bad. It's also a cancer feeder. And what do you do instead of sugar? If you want to sweeten some of your food, just use honey. Use honey. And then, although you do not use honey on babies that are below 1 year old, it's not good for them. But if you're over 1 year old, use honey for your sugar. And avoid GMO food, any food that is processed, that is not natural. Just concentrate on the natural food, like rice, grains, you like, vegetables, fruits, nuts, grains, vegetables, and legumes, or natural. You should concentrate on those foods. And foods also that contributes to hypertension, heart disease, and stroke, like salt. Get rid of your salt shaker. You don't need salt. If you like, instead of salt, it's not as good as salt, of course, but it will help you become more healthy. Just use lemon. If you like the food to taste a little bit salty, use lemon. And eat more meat-free meals. You know, it's good to eat meals that are free from meat, because the problem with meat is that, you know, what happens to meat, the meat could be stuck in some parts of the inside organs of your body. It could get stuck there, and then it could become spoiled, and it could be rotten, and it could invite some parasites inside your body, and if it's rotten, and it could cause you to get sick unless you're able to eliminate it, and you don't know if you're eliminating all of it all the time or removing it. That's why we always have to eat fibers in order to. Fiber is like a sweeper, like a brush that brush off all the materials, you know, in your digestive organs. It sweep them away so that it goes to waste. So just a little bit of practical things that my wife and I do. When you wake up in the morning, we take warm water, just pure warm water, not cold water, warm water. That is, the purpose of that is to get rid of the toxins that has accumulated in your body while you are sleeping. And after a while, after about maybe 15, 20 minutes, you get warm water again, but put one whole lemon in it. Not the lemon that is small, the yellow one, the big one. One whole lemon. And what my wife does with the lemon, she squeezes several lemons, put them in that ice cube maker, put them there, and then keep them in the freezer of the fridge. So in the morning, if you need to take lemon, just get one of those cubes, put it there. You don't have to cut and squeeze lemon all the time. You already have them in cubes. You put them all in one bucket, and then we just pick up one cube at a time and take that lemon every morning. After taking that lemon, go for some exercise, stretching. It's always good to do stretching, different strokes of stretching, even simple stretching procedures, for example, that way. See, do maybe 20 of them. And then you can do up as high as possible and as low as possible. See? And then you can do sideways. This way, maybe 20 to 30 of them also. See? And then after that, you do maybe, go up there and one, or do also 20 of them. See? And if you have what you call this treadmill, do treadmill. But if it's not raining outside, it's better to go outside. Go for a walk, maybe 15 to 20 minutes walk. Okay. After doing that, then you can have your breakfast and so on. And your breakfast should be fruits and vegetables. Fruits, actually, just fruits, and some oatmeal if you like, the grain. But if you like to prevent diabetes or not to have diabetes after eating, you should take a walk. Walk for about 15 to 20 minutes. And that will help you prevent diabetes, or if you have starting to have diabetes, maybe you might be able to reverse it. Those are simple things. And do not eat meat anymore. If you eat meat in the morning, do not eat meat anymore in the evening before you go to sleep, because meat has a lot of nutrients in it, and that gives you a lot of energy. And if you eat them in the evening, it might be hard for you to go to sleep. So these are simple things. And if you do this as a habit, always exercising, and then that will help you not to be obese. If you notice that your tummy is getting bigger, maybe you should control your diet a little bit also, and have plenty of sleep. You know, is that 8 rules of health, good health? Is that 8? New 3, start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 8 rules of being healthy. One is N for nutrition. So eat fruits, nuts, grains, vegetables, and legumes. Do not cook them so much. Eat them raw if possible, or steam them. Okay, nutrients and also fruits in the morning. And then number two, exercise. Do you exercise? Every morning you should exercise, stretching and so on. And if you also take a walk in the evening before you go to sleep, after supper, you take a walk, 15, 20 minutes, you have a very good sleep, long sleep, usually without interruption. You go to sleep before 10 o'clock, and then after that, nutrition, exercise, water. Drink plenty of water. 8 to 12 glasses of water a day, not less than 8 a day. And of course, after that, sunshine. Get plenty of sunshine. Always look out in the morning. If it's not raining, you don't have to go out in the rain if it's raining. But if it's sunny, take advantage of that. Because even if you're taking vitamin D, D3 or 1, it's not as the vitamin E that you, vitamin D, I'm sorry, vitamin D3, the vitamin D that you get is not as good as the one that you get from the sun. So sunshine, and then temperance. You have to be temperate in things that you do. Do not drink alcohol, do not smoke, or keep away from meat and oily products or GMO and so on. And be temperate in everything. You have to control yourself. Exercising is good, but if you exercise too much, might not be good also for you. It depends also on your age. And then air, breathe plenty of fresh air. In the morning when you go out in the open, especially if there are lots of trees, nice outside. We usually go to the backyard and breathe in and then release them to your mouth. Like, that's breath, fresh air. And then rest. If you want to rest and at the same time be close to God, just obey what God said. Do your work 6 days, Sunday to Friday, but rest on a Saturday. Spend it not doing any work. Just not do any work, just rest. Spend that day contemplating about God, praying, doing work of compassion, visiting the sick, or giving Bible studies and so on. Spend that day doing that, and then you'll be closer to God also. And T is trust in God. Trust God, pray, talk to Him as often as you can, as possible. And as I mentioned, let me go back to also sleep is very important. Usually our body develop certain substance in the evening between 10 to 12. It's called pancreatin. Pancreatin is developed inside our body between 10 o'clock in the evening to 2 o'clock in the morning. But on 3 conditions. One, you have to have an empty stomach and you have to be asleep. No, 2 conditions, I mean. Asleep and empty stomach. So even if you sleep 10 o'clock in the evening, if you have just eaten, you eat 9 o'clock and then you sleep, then you cannot develop pancreatin. And that means you have to eat maybe 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon for your supper, not later than 6. And then by 4 hours, your food will be digested. So it's almost empty. You go to sleep and you develop pancreatin. If you watch TV all night and do not sleep early, you sleep at 2 o'clock, you do not develop. Or you sleep 12 o'clock. Then if you have plenty of pancreatin in your body, you you can prevent developing all kinds of cancer. But if you do have less pancreatin, not so much of it, some kind of cancer might appear in your body, and it might compromise your body or your life. So thank you so much for being with us. I have announced this morning that because of the summer months are too short in Canada, we only have about 4 summer months, that June, July, August, September, usually which are warm and nice. October is still nice, but start to become cold and so on because we have four seasons here. Uh, so what we do, and not many people usually uh, come and follow us online on during the summer months, and in the Philippines it's always summer, so maybe they are usually out in the afternoon, in the evening. Of course, 7 o'clock in the evening is 7 o'clock in the evening is 7 o'clock in the morning there, but so it might be inconvenient for many people. So we would like to uh, make a post on our health lecture every Saturday evening. Maybe we will cancel it or stop it for about 4 months. So starting the next Saturday, we will not be having health lectures in the evening until about the end of September. Anyway, if you go to my YouTube, there are so many health lectures there. Almost not all, but many of these the diseases that are prevalent are all discussed there. So you just look for the topic: cancer, stroke, heart disease. Just look for them there, and you can listen to different kind. The 10 deadliest diseases, they are all there. And you can open my YouTube. So just visit my YouTube and you'll find them there. We are thinking of canceling it, but instead of canceling it, we might still come up with some health lecture if we are in the mood or if it's raining outside or so on. But we will just do it spontaneously, not on a certain schedule of 7 o'clock every Saturday evening. But the Saturday morning, we'll continue on with that. So you can tune in with us every Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning for our morning worship. Because in the morning on Saturday, we have to worship God anyway. Uh, so we would like to continue doing that uh, as long as we are able to, as long as God empowers us and give us wisdom and inspiration and knowledge to be able to continue on with it. But the health lecture in the evening, we're not going to do it regularly as we are doing it now. And if you'd like to continue supporting our ministry, please visit my YouTube. Go to the YouTube channel and search for my name, Noel Frias. You see my photo there. And then to help us in our ministry, click subscribe and also click the notification bell. And that way we are able to share our videos and information to as many people as possible. And if you like the presentation, please, you can put some nice comments there or click like. You can go to Facebook, click like, and share them. Share them to others so that we can share all this information to others. We would like to bring as many people as possible to God's heavenly kingdom. And you also wanted to do that because that is the command that God has given. Go and preach the gospel. You don't have to preach yourself, but if you help somebody preaching the gospel and sharing the message to other people, when God gives the blessing to that person who preached, it says in the Bible that you are also blessed the same way, equally. If I'm the one who preached it and you're the one who introduced the person to listen, then when God gives the blessing to me, you will have equal share. If it's 100%, we'll have 50-50 share of the blessing. That's what the Bible says. The blessing will be the same to the preacher as well as to the one who shared it or who introduced it to someone. So I thank you again. And before we close, let us see if we can have another music here to end our program. Let us sing here. Let us see. God will make a way. All right. Let's try to sing the song. Could you please let's check the screen now to see if we can play this.
This is the checkers game where grandson and granddad will bond. This is the kid.
we cannot see. He will make a way for me. He will be my guide, hold me closely to his side. With love and strength for each new day, he will make a way. He will make a way. Oh, God will make a way where there seems to be no way. He works in ways we cannot see. He will make a way for me. He will be my guide, hold me closely to his side. With love and strength for each new day, he will make a way. He will make a way. By a roadway in the wilderness, he'll lead me. Rivers in the desert will I see. Heaven and earth will fade, but his word will still remain. And he will do something new today. Oh, God will make a way where there seems to be no way. He works in ways we cannot see. He will make a way for me. He will be my guide, hold me closely to his side. With love and strength for each new day, he will make a way. He will make a way. By a roadway in the wilderness, you lead me. Rivers in the desert will I see. Heaven and earth will fade, but his word will still remain. And he will do something new today. Oh, God will make a way where there seems to be no way. He works in ways we cannot see. He will make a way for me. He will be my guide, hold me closely to his side. With love and strength for each new day, he will make a way. He will make a way. With love and strength for each new day, he will make a way. He will make a way.
Would you please join me as we seek the Lord in prayer? Dear God, our Father in heaven, thank you so much for the time that we have spent together in this health lecture, dealing with breast cancer. As it was said in the song, God will make a way. You will always make a way for us, dear Father, to make our lives better. That's why you have given us your holy book for us to read so that we can be guided. We can find a way and steps to follow in order for us to be good health. But of course, we have to make a way also ourselves. We have to make a way to find your way that will lead us to good health, and not only that, it will also lead us to your roadmap to everlasting life. The Father, you promised in the Bible that if we obey you, you will give us blessings, and that if we follow your instructions, even of the food that we eat, you're going to take sickness away from us. We would like this, Father, to be we'd like to make that as a goal in our lives. So help us to be able to follow your teaching, to obey you, and even with regard to the food that we should eat, so that you'll take sickness away from us. And although we die because of sin, we're not going to die because of suffering, sickness, and so on. It's just because of old age. We ask that you forgive us from where we have fallen short of your glory, and please give us blessings as we put a post on our health presentation. Help our friends and followers to continue following us in our Saturday morning, 10 o'clock in the morning program, so that we can always have this fellowship with each other, even online. And when you come in the clouds of heaven, help us that we can all be saved in your eternal kingdom. And give us a chance to be able to meet each other with those people who have been following us through these online ministries of ours. We ask now that you will dismiss us with your blessing. We ask all this favor in Jesus' holy name and pray. Amen. Thank you so much, my friends. And we would like to see you again next Saturday morning. And for now, let's enjoy the Sabbath afternoon doing work of compassion for the Lord. And we can resume again, or spontaneously we will release some videos on health if we whenever we find a chance to do so, but it will not be on schedule anymore. We're going to put them, and if you just continue watching our Facebook and YouTube, you will just see them appear there every now and then. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you again next Saturday. May God